Okay, we'll go ahead and call Morris County Fiscal Court special call meeting to order August 19th. Chapman came from Rivercrest is here, so we're going to follow up discussion on the Southwest 1 sewer project in the extension.
Draftonville.
I'm sorry, Draftonville. I was just talking about
that.
that.
Wait a minute.
I was just talking about that this morning, where I wish they would have named it something different than West. Take the West out, but anyway. So it's the Draftonville West sewer project. We reviewed the bonds. One of the first things that I did when we got the $7.1 million is I invested those dollars while they were sitting in the account, waiting for the projects to develop. And we've got over $80,000 in interest that the $7.1 million had accumulated. So we do have the monies to cover the project. And I pulled the October 2020 contract modification, and I just want folks, when we had our discussion about the subdivision, I just want folks to understand that even in the language from the first modification, the engineering design was designing, and we briefly talked about this, was a gravity-fed system, and that subdivision wouldn't even be able to tie on to this extension because of the gravity feed that it would take. But and the engineers cited in that modification, although, and I'm just going to read this, although we understand this is more so for folks sitting at home when they watch this and they think if they live in that subdivision that this project in any way ties into where they live, it doesn't. Although we understand that the fiscal court does not wish to build the full extent of these or those sewers identified for the expansion at this time, and that was that 1.8 million. That project was designed to where you got the lift station at the base of the park. Everything flows down and it pumps it all the way back up. So I just wanted to make sure that I address that so that folks, if they do watch our meeting, that they understand that this extension does not include that subdivision. So, but were there any other discussions?
So if we take off now the 8,800 that we went ahead and approved the other day, now that amount, because I would say if we're going to approve this, we need to do it based on that less 8,800, right? Because your engineering, you totaled it all in on that.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so what's that amount?
$79,293.61 minus $8,800. So that's going to get you to $70,800 or $70,500
Yeah. Okay,
roughly.
all right.
So you're taking from the 79,293.61 to 8,800.
Subtract the 8,800 that was approved at Tuesday's meeting.
I've got 70,493.61.
You were off by $6.39. 74.93.61.
Correct.
Okay, and I do think I get it now where I don't want to say confusion, but you know, I guess it was confusion, but all of us. But I get that now where it was the original. It was not contingency as much as it was the original bid and then what that bid came in for, and so what we were planning on was around $1,080,000, and it actually came in at $970. So if you add this 80 back, it's still below that and adds that extension into it.
Yeah. If you want me to explain that a little bit, back last year before we went to bids on this current project that's being constructed, Rivercrest presented a final design estimate for $1,075,000 for this project. That included a 10% contingency within our estimate number. So when the bids came in for Mertco, the bid came in at $966.40. Then one change order was approved by the court for that contract, which brought it to the $997. So that's where the roughly $80,000 contingency number started floating around, was the difference between Rivercrest's final design estimate of $1,075,000 and the current value of the Mertco contract of $997,000. The difference between those numbers is where the $80,000 contingency number came from in our discussions. And again, that was the difference between an estimate and the actual contract amount for Mertco.
As well as the original bond figures that we were looking at were based on your 1.8, where we took off that based on the 1,075,000 and committed 700 of that. You know, we didn't do that, but we committed 700 to the water project, which again gets you down to the 1,100,000 or 1,075,000. And so again, based on that, getting this extension and still within that figure, I'm comfortable with making the motion that we approve that extension at Draftonville West for a figure of $70,493.61.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. And since this is a special call meeting, that's the only item on the agenda.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.